Hail and well met friends, Andang here for another Ask Anything. This time we have Ethelros in the torture chair, or ask chair, or whatever you want to call it, as we're going to be asking him pretty much anything that comes up from the chat room and ourselves. So, Ethelros, welcome.
I like the sound of Doom Chair, personally.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alright, Doom chair it is. And Sithrith is also joining us, so welcome, Sithrith.
Hi, everyone. That's me.
And and we might also have some people showing up and possibly some people leaving throughout the show, although at Theros you're not allowed to leave. So here we go. First of all, I do have some questions from Lizzie to start things off. Just some very easy ones. Her first question is, where does the princess live?
Uh, what definition of easy is that question supposed to be? I don't. I
And
don't.
also, what princess?
You can just say in the
Yeah.
castle if you want.
Um,
Or
Another
not.
castle.
Say a
In
different
another castle. Alright. And then her other question, which this one's the hard one of the two that she gave me. What dinosaurs live in the Jurassic period?
Well, that one's actually easier, I feel
It
like.
is possible.
It's more specific.
I think I'm behind on my dinosaur knowledge. I think I'm kind of rusty on that.
65 million years behind, perhaps?
Slightly. I don't remember exactly which ones were in which period, so I'm going to have to give that a pass.
Alright, well, I'm sure that Lizzie's sad somewhere because you didn't answer her questions. But moving on, and remember, chat room, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. And I'm sorry, Ethelros, for starting off with those questions. Possibly some easier ones, and that probably made you get your guard up after the last ones. But these really are easier ones. What got you into RuneScape?
Um, I think I know when I was in school, like high school, sort of 12-ish at the beginning, it was just popular in general to be playing it. So some of my friends were. I remember pestering my parents a lot trying to get a subscription to it. They never did, which is probably the right move in retrospect. I think at the time it was just kind of the sort of multiplayer MMO thing. I didn't really know about these bigger ones like World of Warcraft and whatnot. I'm not sure if it was still around at that time, but if it was around at that time. But yeah, that was like the only one I knew about, and it was free, kind of accessible, and you could like spend a lot of time into it, which I did. I think pretty much the only memory I have is spending hours woodcutting while listening to McFly for no reason.
Alright, I have similar memories, although not with that music choice. But yeah, lots and lots of
Don't judge
woodcutting in
me.
the game. I didn't say I was judging you, just said that that's not the music I listen to, crazy person. So yes, RuneScape was your first MMO, right?
Yes.
So what about RuneScape do you miss in current MMOs, if anything?
I think their questing in general was a lot better. Like, I don't know, they just seem to put more effort into kind of things you have to do, like requirements. You need like a certain amount of cooking skills and stuff. Whereas with other MMOs, you just sort of right click and your character automatically knows how to cook. They know how to chop wood. They know how to pick up, I don't know, things that do stuff. And like that's sort of like skills. There's no real innate character skill requirements for quests, at least at this point. I don't think.
Yeah,
You're
that's
sort of
definitely
like
true.
that kind of talent automatically.
Right. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. It actually allows you to basically burn food and make it to where you can't use food and you only had like so many resources and you're like, "Oh crap, now I have to go get all these new resources again." And, I'm low on health and yeah, I totally forgot about that, but that's a really cool part of it. Did you play any games before RuneScape?
As in MMO multiplayer types or just
No,
games in
just any
general.
games in general.
I think the oldest memory I've got is Sonic on the Sega, and I only remember that because of the sound when it plays when their console actually turns on.
Okay, yeah, those that's probably the most memorable part about consoles, I think. I remember the PlayStation 1 sound turning on still. It's
Yeah, I
very
do as well.
iconic.
Hmm. I think after that it was Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Those are the two main like kind of series stuff I played on the PlayStation 1, which is kind of my first real console.
Okay.
Um, Army Men, I think, was another one I played a lot of.
Yeah.
It was really bad, but I still did it. There was a few Star Wars games too, but yeah, that was probably the most common early ones that I was playing.
Okay, and what are you playing right now? I'm guessing a lot of League of Legends, but
Yeah, kind of. That's a game I kind of play only when with friends because it's kind of rage-inducing and people are jerks.
People are jerks.
that's an
Yeah,
Ethelros
it's
quote right
not
there.
typically fun for me to play on my own, so I don't tend to do it that much. Aside from that, obviously Guild Wars 2, which Sith dragged me into. And
I
yeah,
did nothing of the sort, but okay.
yes, you did. I think I recall you informing me that it was on sale.
I'm pretty
That's not
sure that you
bad.
dragged all of us into Guild Wars 2, so that even Pineleaf, who had his own special experience with Guild Wars 2.
Well,
He got
apparently,
tempted.
yeah, yeah. Okay. I will admit I'm a very Guild Wars 2-y influence on the low show community. We'll leave it at
Well,
that.
Drac was there long before the rest of us, so I guess
That's
he
true.
doesn't. Yeah.
He didn't
Hmm,
feel the need to drag everybody else down into it like
I
I did.
suppose. Yeah. Aside from Guild Wars, I've played some Dark Souls. A lot of actually. I've beaten the first game twice, almost three, and then I got bored. The second game I've beaten twice, and at some point I'm gonna probably try and you play the new DLC they put in, which came in a while ago. That's mainly what I've played recently. It's a fun game, also rage-inducing, but you know, it's
Okay.
good.
What's your favorite game?
Oh God. Um, this is really hard. Um,
It is a hard question.
Maybe think
I
about it and come
mean,
back to it later.
I suppose, yeah.
All right. Well, while you're thinking on that, why did you agree to do Fellowship of the Creeps in the first place and get started into all this whole podcasting thing and all that stuff?
Um, I think the first podcasting thing I did was Ivan's. I think it was the Reaver
I think so, yeah.
Roundtable. I believe it was the Reaver Roundtable, and then after that, I think you invited me to Fellowship of the Creeps after that, if I remember correct. Um, I guess like I was just PvPing, or PvMPing with like Ivan and stuff. I think he just mentioned to me that if I wanted to, and I guess yeah, why not? I think I'd always wanted to at least try it just once, which doesn't change the fact that I was freaking terrified to do it, but still, yeah,
Well, I think
it's
everyone's terrified the first time that they do a
oh yeah,
podcast or,
yeah.
that type of thing.
Hmm.
Well, from there, you seem to enjoy that show, although we did get kind of burnt out on it later. But before we got burnt out on it, you agreed to become a part of Lotro Players and be on Lotro Players News. Do you remember how all that happened?
No,
I honestly don't
um,
either.
that was
So
a long time
it
ago.
was a really long time ago. I just remember that I was surprised that you actually agreed to go into it because I had known you before then only as the PvP guy. And then all of a sudden you were doing lore master stuff and pet guides and all
Yeah,
sorts of other things.
I
Um,
remember I was there for the first episode, and then I missed the second because I got confused on the time zones of when we were actually doing
that's
recordings.
right. I
And
forgot
then
about
I think
that.
it was a long time, I think up until maybe episode like 50 episodes later or something, that was the next time I missed an episode. Until obviously I decided to leave,
Right, yeah, you were
which is
there
always
quite a
nice.
lot.
Yeah.
So in mind of you leaving, I came up with this question.
No.
Who is the better host, Pineleaf or
Oh,
Sithrith?
snap! That's just mean.
I
Choose
think
carefully, Ethelros.
all right, I'm gonna be careful with this. I think if you want a strict schedule, Pineleaf is hands down better at it. I think he's better
Yeah,
at it than
that's
anyone.
yep. Yes, that's yep. True.
I think
Fact.
it depends on how organized you want to be. I think I find it more enjoyable probably to kind of not have to worry about deadlines that much because I'm not good at them in any respect. So I think, yeah, it's a lot easier for me, which I suppose you can consider a good or bad thing depending on how strict about you want to be.
Yeah, it's more relaxing if you don't need a schedule.
Yeah.
If you're not a person that needs a schedule. Um, all right. Well, what about cat players, Ethelros? Would you be part of it?
No,
Wow.
Well then, fine,
Wow.
fine.
I am a person who is not overly fond of cats. I've always been a dog person, and I
But
pretty much
you've
always will be.
been planning to make a Char Guardian in Guild Wars 2, so you
Because
would
there's no
be a
dog
cat
people.
player.
I will be a cat player, but I only because I have to, and there's no real better options. If there was a dog player, I'd be doing that.
But you drink a lot of warm milk, Ethelros.
I no.
And you're
I
real
never
gloomy
admitted to
all the
warm
time. I
milk.
mean, you're basically
It's
a cat
always cold.
yourself, aren't you?
No, no, I am not in any respect, aside from maybe hating stuff. But cats do that anyway.
All right, Sithith, do you have any questions for Ethelros?
Yeah, I've got a question right off the bat. So, Thoros, what is your favorite song, and why is it you are a pirate?
I mean, the title alone is enough explanation, I would think. Who doesn't want to be a pirate?
That's a good question.
If you don't know what that is, you should go look it up. It's majestic and piratey.
So you're a gloomy person that likes majestic pirate songs.
Well, my Zero is also majestic. He's not a pirate, but it's always
Just
an
not
option.
the word I'd use.
Hmm.
All right.
Speaking
But
of
yeah,
which, what is your favorite thing about your Asura necromancer named Fafnir? What is your favorite thing about that character?
that he creeps you out.
Okay.
That was a lot of encouragement for me to keep playing him.
He is very disturbing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I always kind of hated the Asura because I found them arrogant and pretentious and uh, various other nasty words. But especially Zoja, who I will
Mm.
go on record as saying I do not like at all,
Hmm.
no matter what Drax says. But I guess I think the original plan was to play a Necro Asura because I hated kind of, well, I didn't hate Necros per se, but I didn't really like them either. And I ended up liking him, so there you go.
All right. Awesome. What about Guild Wars? Do you like to where now you're doing a podcast on it instead of Lotro?
I think in general, you can just kind of, it just kind of feels like it's newer, which I mean, it's
Well,
supposed
it
to because
is.
it's not a newer game, but you can kind of feel the polish on it, like the animations and stuff feel a lot more smooth and believable. Like when you run, you sort of stop and then like you can kind of feel the momentum of you stopping. It's certain things like that. It's just in general, yeah, it feels nice. And the emphasis on story isn't too bad either. I always like a good story in MMOs, and a lot of the ones I've tried, I've kind of moved away from because I wasn't really satisfied with it. But yeah, this one does good gameplay, good story, good visuals too, and the business model is great. So that's why I would recommend it if people were wondering.
All right.
Join us.
A while ago, you mentioned that you would never do another MMO other than Lotro, and obviously you went on to do Guild Wars 2. Are there any other MMOs that interest you?
Okay, there's a few I've tried and I've liked in certain respects, but for one reason or another, they kind of don't match up. One I tried was Rift, made by Tryon. That is good gameplay. The visuals are nice, but the I just don't care about the world. Like they don't give me a reason to care about it. That was the major flaw with that game, and I think, as far as I know, it still is. It's kind of just
Yeah,
you
I'd
could kind
agree.
of point to that game and say that's a fantasy MMO.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. It doesn't really stand out by itself that much, in my opinion. I think the other major one I tried was Star Wars: The Old Republic, which good story, good kind of good visual. I mean, graphically it's nice. Maybe the theme and aesthetic is a little too bland sometimes, but I guess a lot of these places are kind of not virtual, like just metallic and stuff in general, so it's kind of hard to make it more colorful. But yeah, that's good. The only problem I have with it is the business model, which is kind of bad to say the least, and it's put me off it.
All right.
I think those are the major two that have kind of tempted me, and I've kind of drifted away from because of those reasons.
Okay. Sithith, do you have any other questions?
Not at the moment, but I'm trying to think, so
Okay.
sure I'll have other ones.
Ethelros, first of all, what movies do you like?
Um, I've never really been that big of a movie person. Obviously,
Don't
Lord of the Rings and
say.
stuff because they're just like talking stuff. Um, I wouldn't say there's a specific genre I'm that fond of. Comedies I tend to find kind of boring in general because they just seem to not make me laugh that much, which considering that's their main goal explains why I don't like them. Sometimes fantasy type movies can be fun, or like actiony ones that are really cheesy just because I'm that kind of person who enjoys pointing and laughing at the stupid things that they do or say in them.
Okay.
Yeah, like aside from that, I kind of like a movie where no matter what the genre is, if I just like it for whatever reason, I'm not too picky in terms of what type.
Okay. I know that you know more, you seem to know more about television. Is there anything in particular you like on there?
I haven't watched TV in over a year. I think the
Okay.
last thing I really got
So bad.
invested in was probably Doctor Who, and that kind of went off when they sort of changed the writer and direction and stuff, and that kind of
Agreed.
put me off. And after that, there was really nothing else that wasn't a rerun or something I could watch online with like Netflix or something. So, yeah, still a lot of good shows that I watch, just none of them are new or anything.
Hmm. What about books? Any favorite book?
Um, Kind of sad, really. I haven't read as much lately as I probably would have liked to. I just kind of haven't gotten the motivation to. It's probably something I should be doing. A lot of books I've read, I've liked fantasy ones in particular. I can't remember the name of the series, but yeah, there's a few of them, different types. Obviously, Lord of the Rings is one of them. I can't remember any of the names, which is what I said last time I was asked this question, and that was like a year ago. Whoops.
All right. Do you have any other hobbies?
Aside from this stuff, no, not really.
Okay. Was there anything that you expected us to ask that we haven't asked yet? Or that we have asked?
Um, Not really. I didn't really have much of an expectation when coming into this. I kind of had dread, but that's a different story.
I think Sithirth and I can relate after both doing this
Hmm.
same thing. It is really scary to put yourself up to this because you have no idea what people might ask. Like, for example, who's your favorite host? And stuff
To be
like
honest, I
that.
guess I was kind of expecting more um, worse things, quote
More
unquote.
verse.
And
Yeah,
speaking of more worse things, it seems that Drac is on the call now.
Oh,
Could
that's
be.
mean.
Maybe.
Did you get our voicemail, Drac?
I didn't listen to it, but I see I had a voicemail.
Okay, we left you
Mean.
a voicemail before the
Because
show for
that's a
the
thing
chat
that they
room that
do
doesn't
now, I
know.
guess.
Because Drac recently changed it to where now his, if you call him, it leaves a voicemail. So we decided to have fun with that. So you'll have fun with that after the show, Drac.
Oh, I can't
Um,
wait to hear this now.
yeah. But anyway, do you have any questions for Tharos?
I actually don't know what's been asked yet,
Well, go
so
ahead and ask stuff, and we'll let you know if it has.
Harry Potter. Who's your favorite character in the Harry Potter series? Because I know you like Harry Potter.
That's actually a good
yeah.
question.
Like is probably a strong word for
That's a
me.
pretty mild word.
Strong word for me. I used to actually be pretty big into that. Like I remember reading, I think it was the sixth or seventh one, like as soon as it came out, because I like pre-ordered it or whatever. Um, Favorite character? I think Lupin, probably. I always seem to
That's a
like
good
him a lot.
answer. He's a good
I
guy.
Okay, I'm not going to do spoilers. I don't know whether I should. They count as spoilers at this
Well, I mean, the
point.
last book's been out for years now.
You can give a
Okay,
spoiler alert.
okay. Spoiler alert for, yeah, for those few
Everything.
people who haven't read them yet. I was really kind of ticked off when he died in like the last book as an offhand reference. Like at some point, he's like walking around. Okay, dead. He's dead. Oh, what?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, I see him laying there, dead.
Kind
Okay.
of. Yeah, that kind of ticked me off. I mean, there was a lot of killing off of characters in that book anyway, but to do it so offhandy for quite a major character, really, kind of annoyed me.
So, as a follow-up, there has been rumors for a while now that they are going to make a Harry Potter MMO. Do you think that IP is ripe to make an MMO with?
I think you could make it work. I mean, it's a pretty big universe. The school
Mm.
setting would be kind of unique, as far as I
It's
know. I don't know
literally
of
the
any other
size of
MMOs that's
Earth.
tried it. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
they could make that school pretty damn big if they wanted to. Yeah, I think if someone did it properly, they could make it work, and I'd be quite interested in playing that, assuming the business model is good.
They could even do other not Hogwarts schools, other wizarding schools.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, Drac or Sithith?
I almost had one, and then Drax showed up, and I forgot.
Nice. Blame me. You guys tend to blame me for everything else. So.
Hey, at least you didn't have. You know what Andang asked earlier? Who is your favorite host? Pineleaf or Sithrin? They asked.
Ooh,
Yeah, those
that's just
hardball
mean.
questions.
That's just.
I think I maneuvered it.
I
Yeah.
had a little bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All
Okay,
right. Well,
why did you delete so many characters?
that's a good question.
It's kind of my mentality with MMOs for some reason. If I'm gonna make a character, I pick that one and I level it till it's done. I'm not the kind of person who can kind of jump on this character, do a bit of leveling, jump on that character, do a bit of like leveling like Pineleaf does, or like some other people do. I just can't do that. I have to focus on that one, and if I kind of get bored of it and then come back later, I don't feel like I can continue it. I don't know. It's just that kind of way it works for me. And in Lotro especially, at some point, I guess it just became too awkward to level multiple characters repeatedly, like every time the level cap went up. So I kind of just went, okay, these ones I don't like as much, they're gone.
About how many characters have you deleted?
Um, I guess we'll do by game. Lotro specifically, at least a dozen, possibly
Wow.
2 dozen.
Wow.
Wow.
Some of
Wow.
them could be upwards of level 70, 80, downwards
you have
of
to reach-
like 15.
Your captain, or did he survive?
Oh no, he died a long time ago. He was like
Oh.
level 50, 50-ish, 55 maybe.
I wasn't sure
I
if
know
you
I
actually.
deleted a 75 minstrel, a 75 captain, and some other stuff that I don't remember the names of, but yeah, a lot. For Guild Wars 2, obviously there's the Mesmer I made 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I know I made a thief and deleted him around level 20. A lot more, probably maybe upwards of a dozen, probably less, like between 6 and a dozen.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
That's just
That brings-
crazy.
That brings me to another question. Why do you hate thieves so much in Guild Wars 2?
It's the same reason I hate stealth classes in any game. Lotro is the same with burglars. League of Legends, there's some classes that kind of go stealthy in that too, and I hate those. I hate anything that has the combination of like kind of mobility, stealth, and burst damage. I think if you're gonna have stealth, it's like that poem that you can just run around while stealth and come out of nowhere. You shouldn't be able to kind of kill somebody before they have time to react, because the nature of having stealth means your opponent isn't going to be able to react as reasonably as they would against someone that they see coming. So I think if you're going to do that, you should give them some other way of outplaying, like maybe having less burst damage or less CC that they can inflict you with. Burglars were the worst for this because they had stuns where they could stun you from stealth, like come out, kill you, and the stun would have not run out before you died. I hated that so much. And thieves are kind of worse in that. Yeah, they have CC, not too much, but they burst you so fast. That's my beef.
Okay.
Okay. Stereotypical questions. What's your favorite color?
Um, Brown or grey, probably.
And nobody is shocked by this answer.
That's awesome. Um, so that brings me into my next question, which is this whole gloomy thing, is it an act?
I'd probably say it's slightly exaggerated. My voice is not. This is pretty much how I always sound. Maybe because my mic isn't very good. Yeah, it's not completely inaccurate. It's probably not as accurate as you would think.
All right. That's a very unspecific way to say it. Um, my next question, which is along the same lines, why do you associate with Eeyore?
I think it's more accurate to say that someone else associated me with you, and I kind of felt, okay, it works well enough. Let's roll with that. I haven't actually watched Winnie the Pooh in a long time. I think that would probably be a reasonable thing to assume. Yes, he's kind of mopey, and so am I. So, okay, that works.
It seems to fit the persona.
Yeah, it fits.
Sithithorthos, or Sithithordrak, rather. Any other questions?
Favorite food?
Does it count?
Yeah, it's a food.
Okay.
Or food
This
I
stuff.
suppose.
There's stuff they have here it's kind of like a moose sort of thing. It's called Angel Delight here. I don't know if they translate anywhere else, but it's sort of like slightly thicker than a yogurt, but not as thick as a mousse. So it's kind of like melted ice cream. It's
Custard?
really nice. Kind of like custard, but you sort of eat it on its own instead of putting it on something else.
Okay.
So you kind of just like get a bowl of it. I really like that stuff. You don't get it often, but it's really nice.
Okay.
So I heard you mention Doctor Who before when I first joined the call.
Mm-hmm.
So my question would be, who is your favorite Doctor?
This isn't even actually difficult for me. 10 was mine. Like when I started watching, he was there. And you know, it's kind of like the same. Like no matter whoever you start with is the one
Right.
you kind of become the
Yeah.
most fond of. He is hands down my favorite. I just love his acting, his sort of personality and stuff. Sometimes obviously overboard, but I really liked it. And I guess I was kind of slightly put off when the new guy came in. I did give him a chance though, and it
To
wasn't
be
his.
fair, it was a hard transition because not only was it a new doctor, it was a new writing team and showrunner and everything.
I think it's fair to say he's been one of the most popular ones too, so it's a really big shoes to fill.
I would say if you ask most people, they're gonna say either 10 or 11.
4.
Or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
another Doctor Who question then. Who is your favorite companion? And I guess
Donna Noble, easily.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
God, I
Hands
cannot
down,
be friends with you
not even
anymore.
difficult.
I
just
cannot
love
be
that
friends
whole.
with you anymore. That's it. That seals the deal. That's it. It's done.
Okay. I guess disliking Zodia wasn't that bad, but this is too much.
Yeah, that's right. This is the
Domino.
final
Okay.
straw.
I just
Really?
really like that whole best friends traveling around the universe thing.
Yeah, I really like.
She was
Yeah.
a little annoying at first, but she just grew on me.
Mhm.
I really liked her.
Really? Wow.
I liked
don't know,
her storyline because, like, all the other companions, like, always fall in love with the Doctor, but she was just like, nope, just friends. It was
Yeah, and
good.
they always got like that thing where they're special. The thing with her, like, she never thought she was, and then when she actually did turn out to be, but she never really considered herself that way.
Mhm.
I really liked her storyline in general. I just really liked it. It was really good. That's the reason season 4 is my favorite.
All right, well, Pineleaf is on the call. Welcome, Pineleaf. If you're actually around, or maybe just your needles logged into the call for you, I don't know.
I guess that is the case.
I guess that's the case. All right, well, Sithrith or Drac, do you have any other questions while we're trying to figure out what Pineleaf's up to?
Hmm.
I can't think of it.
maybe Pineleaf heard of your response, Ethelros, and he's just like in therapy now, just deeply in therapy
That's
again.
right. He is like shocked and appalled about the Donna Noble thing too.
Oh,
That's
Really?
probably true.
Seriously, Donna? Really?
yeah,
I don't know why you have such a
absolutely.
problem with Donna.
Wow. Oh, I cannot stand
Um,
her. Ugh.
Martha was okay. Rose was
Yeah.
like okay for a bit, and then it kind of got old.
Ugh.
I agree
Um,
with that. Rose, the whole Rose storyline did kind of get old after a while.
Amy was okay for like the first season maybe, and then after that it became like the show kind of became about her and Rory, and I just got sick of it.
Yep.
It's like there's no focus on the Doctor, who's the main character. I didn't like that.
0 out of 10, Amy Pond.
Oh, what? Oh, oh,
Drac, you just like her because she's a redhead. Stop.
oh.
Yeah, I didn't like the Amy and Rory show. I'm sorry.
The Amy and Rory show. Dr. Amy and Rory.
For him at the end, that's what it was. Yeah, I didn't like that. After they sort of went that way, it's just my preference. I kind of stopped watching after that, so I don't have much to say about the newest companion. I don't even know her name, Clara or something, wasn't
Clara.
it? Yeah, and I don't really know enough about her to really say.
Yeah, I watched the 50th anniversary episode with her, and I was just like, I don't know what is happening.
Okay,
At
you
all.
people just need to stop. Stop right now.
I think, okay, whatever.
Ethelros, what's the latest you've had to stay up doing a Players Alliance show?
I think the record was, I think Helm's Deep review,
Probably.
where I was up until 5 a.m.
Wow. And we wonder why he's gloomy all the time.
Well, yeah, that also has an impact. I don't think many people are happy when they're tired.
Alright, Pineleaf, have you shown up yet?
I
Apparently not, although
not.
Ethelros, you saying that made it sound like it was Pineleaf because you were very quiet. But anyway, Sithra Drac, any other questions? And also, chat room, you guys are slacking. We have not gotten any questions from you guys yet. Would be great to have questions from you. There's minus us about 6 people in the chat, so we'd be glad to have you asking questions for Ethelros. They can be stereotypical questions or whatever you've been curious about all this time.
Well, it's the downside of being an incredibly boring person.
You're not that boring, Ethelros.
Oh, that boring. Okay.
Okay, if you had enough money so that you would never need to work ever, like, what would you do with your time?
It's good. Probably sleep a lot first, just because I can. After that, I've kind of wanted to play more, like, kind of ranked stuff in League of Legends, because I've wanted to, but I don't really have the will or time at the moment. So that's something I would like to do at some point. That's kind of a shorter term goal. Aside from that, probably more kind of focusing on myself, like exercise wise. I'd like to do more of that when I have time and the ability, not having to worry about money and stuff like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff, I suppose. Nothing too major. I'm not really a hugely ambitious person in general, so yeah.
This is tough.
Cool.
To
It's
ask.
incredibly dull answer. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Alright, if you met Draculeta in person, would you be afraid that he'd suck your blood?
I'd be afraid he'd punch me after I said I liked Donna Noble.
That's the right answer. Alright. Drac, you're up.
Drac's AFK.
Psh, minor
Probably raging
details.
to himself right now.
He's just raging. Oh my
I
goodness.
know I haven't heard the first half hour of this, so I don't know.
Hey, Pineleaf. There you go. How's it going, Pineleaf?
All right.
Unceremonious entrance.
Yeah, I was in the middle of cooking when I remembered the call.
Well, hopefully
You
you
say it was
turned.
that way around.
Hopefully you turned your stove off so that your house doesn't burn down or anything.
Assume everything is wood in there.
Maybe he went back to go check to see if his house burned down.
Uh,
I think I would know if my house burned down.
Just maybe.
Maybe.
It'd be a little warm.
It'd be a little warm.
You would smell singed pine needles. Is that what you're saying?
There would
Right.
be many singed needles, yeah. So, Pineleaf, do you have any questions that were pressing for Ethelros? We'll let you know if we asked him already.
Oh, I can't think of any at the moment.
Well, we're glad to have you on the call,
uh,
I think this is a first. Pine Leaf is speechless.
It's not a first. You just, at any round table we've ever had, this is Pineleaf pretty much. Alright, well, let me ask you this, Ethelros. Are you, are there any moments where you ever wish that you could be back on Loacher Players News?
um, I think doing the review when I was listening to that, I think there were some kind of things I kind of felt somewhat inclined to talk about, but I think I made the right decision in the end. Like, I don't feel like I was in a good enough position to really participate on the podcast enough that it was actually good for me to be there.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and extend that on to Sithirth and Drax, since we do that sometimes on these Ask Anythings. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I kind of feel the same as Delros. Like, I feel like I made the right decision. I don't regret leaving. I feel like I just wasn't enjoying the game anymore, and so talking about it wasn't super helpful to anyone. So it's better to just focus on a game that I do enjoy a lot. So, yeah.
Alright, Drac?
Yeah, I think I'll mirror them. I'm pretty much the same way. Though I still get to talk about it on Lotro Academy, so I'm still kind of involved in Lotro, but yeah, I'm really enjoying all the stuff I'm doing for DDO and Guild Wars. So I think I miss all of the people more than the actual show, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know the people who are either not there anymore, or I think Brax was one of the people who kind of left the win. Isn't on this call right now. Yeah, a lot of the people I kind of miss talking to, or kind of miss the opportunity to talk to, I suppose, is yeah, that's
Right,
the
yeah.
bigger thing than anything else.
Well, see, it's kind of funny for me, Ethelros, because I actually talk to Brax more than I do any of you guys, except for Pineleaf, obviously, because he's actually doing Middle-earth lore VO for me, so we actually talk a lot. So it's kind of a weird thing where it's like you guys are, talking to each other all the time, me and Pineleaf are, and then Brax is like I'm kind of talking with quite a bit too. So it's a weird dynamic. But anyway.
The only time I've talked to Brax lately is when he sends me Quaggan pictures on Twitter. So
That was really good. Hats off to Brax for doing that on Twitter. Alright, and we do have some questions from the chat now. Branhild asks, favorite type of music?
this is kind of like TV, to be honest. I don't, or movies, I suppose. I'm not really hugely like a huge fan of any particular genre. I've listened to heavy metal. I've listened to just normal rock music, some random pop stuff. Anything. I'm quite a fan of listening to video game soundtracks. I actually have a few of those on my phone just because I like them that much. Metal Gear Rising, particularly, I really like the soundtrack from that, and I actually haven't taken that off my phone since I put it on it, which usually happens because I tend to get bored of songs, having listened to like the same one repeatedly for days on end. Yeah. So if I think of music is good, I'll take it and just listen to it, no matter what genre it is.
Awesome. Alright, and Mookie Blaylock asks, do you watch sports?
Does esports count?
Sure.
Yeah, I sometimes watch League of Legends esports. It's actually kind of fun to actually know what's going on now, because I remember watching, like, kind of seeing some of that stuff when I first started playing. I'm like, I have no idea what is going on, but at this point, I can kind of see what abilities those are and why they're using them and that sort of stuff. It's yeah, quite a fan of watching that. It's hard to keep track of because there's so much stuff going on in it, but
Yeah.
yeah, quite a fan of watching that.
If I remember
No
right,
fan of particular teams, but
you used to watch StarCraft stuff too.
yeah, I did a little bit. Not so much the major competitive stuff. I would just watch people who kind of either streamed or just did YouTube videos of it. Yeah. As far as the League of Legends stuff goes, I'm not a supporter of any particular team or player. My kind of rule of thumb is I support whoever has the characters or champions I liked, and the people, whoever it is that plays support, because that's what I do in League of Legends generally. Big fan
Right.
of utility support characters in that game.
So you're not a dressage fan?
Sorry.
You're not a fan of horse dancing?
No idea what it is you're talking about.
Alright.
Dressage, it's an equestrian event.
See, Pineleaf knows.
Of course, Pineleaf knows.
Hive knows everything.
We
I
should
guess you don't
just-
watch equestrian events, so therefore,
No.
I think that answers
Right.
our question.
I think we should just have Pineleaf on all our shows just for this sole purpose of like giving random facts. He doesn't even need to be like a co-host or the host. He can just be giving random facts the whole show.
It'd be helpful for explaining things I don't understand.
He's like your translator of knowledge.
Yep.
Well, that's because I told it all from him, right?
Well, yes, that's a thing too.
And that reminds me, there were a lot of origin stories written about you, Ethelros. Pretty much all of them involved you getting beat up or knowledge taken from you or something like that. And so, how does that make you feel?
It's a difficult question to answer. Um, Slightly hurt, I guess, considering it's very violent. I don't know why so many were focused on me, but I guess you could consider it a compliment in a roundabout way.
Yeah, you're like the depressed villain of the Players Alliance.
Being the target of everyone's sadism is, yeah, I guess you can consider. At least people are interested.
Alright, and this is the final question I had prepped, which I did have peer reviewed, and they thought that it was hilarious. So we'll see what everyone else thinks.
Oh
Um, do you sing?
God, no. Technically,
This is false.
it's false, and there's no evidence to prove it.
Now, there might be.
Oh,
Really?
Dragon's
I'm
recording.
intrigued.
I might have to check. I can't remember if I was recording that playthrough we were doing at said time that you were singing. So there might be some evidence, maybe.
What was Ethelros singing?
You are a pirate.
The only song that's good in the world.
It all comes full circle.
I'm gonna have to
And
go back.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't a solo act either.
Drek was also singing.
Really?
Kind
Yes.
of.
And I'm pretty sure you were as well.
I might have also been singing. We might have had a little Guild Wars players sing along.
So how much alcohol was involved that night?
You don't need alcohol when you're tired.
You don't need alcohol when you're a pirate.
Yeah. Well, I guess you kind of do, but you don't need it.
Well, you don't need it. Just do what you want
Because the
because
pirate
pirates
is
are
free.
free. You are a pirate.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Alright, we already talked about books, but I don't think we asked you which one was your favorite. So Brandhild from the chat asks, what's your favorite book?
Okay, I'm gonna leave out Lord of the Rings because that's a cheap answer, and everyone would know that.
So Lord of the Rings.
I'm not gonna say. There was a series of books. I don't remember what the actual full series is called. I just know that it was Wind Lord, Earth Lord, and Fire Lord. I don't know what the actual series was called. It was those three. I've read those when I was 10, and I just have a really fond memory of those books. So I'd say that. If anyone's
Okay.
heard of those, that might be it. Yeah.
I haven't heard of those, but I do know that you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes. and Korra, I suppose, after that. Um, I'm going to be the unpopular person here, though, and say that I didn't really like Katara that much. For whatever reason. She just didn't, I don't know, mesh with me.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was meant to not be liked at the beginning, at least.
Yeah, I get that, and then she's kind of meant to grow on you later
Mhm.
on when she self-develops as a character. I don't know, I just didn't seem to like it. There was the one episode that which I felt she was being unreasonable on, and it never really seemed to be addressed, and that kind of cheesed me off. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, she had a very different life than most of the other characters, so that makes sense. And definitely not the movie version, Brandhild. I'm going to answer for Ethelros here.
I haven't actually watched that. I might actually want to at some point just to see how bad it is.
Oh, it's okay,
I've heard
so
that's a bad idea.
it it actually is like voted the worst movie by most critics, it seems, um, like ever. And it's because the main character doesn't actually talk. So Aang doesn't even talk in this
And
series.
they don't even call him Aang, don't they? They call him Ong or
Ong.
Yeah,
something.
they call him the wrong name. And graphically it actually looks pretty cool. I'll give them that. They did a good job on the visuals. But it's repeating the same story that they already told on the TV show, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you don't have the voiceover, it just really is apparent how it's not as good as the actual TV show was.
Well, there's a certain value in enjoying bad movies because
Yeah,
Some people like
I've
to hate
watched a
watch
few,
things.
and yeah, hate watch is fun.
yeah.
I know when I was watching, I think it was either the first or second Avengers film. I'm not saying those are bad, but I'm saying there are certain parts in those movies that kind of like haha, it's dumb that you did that, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun to point and laugh at the stupidity.
It's dumb that you did that.
You haha, it's dumb that you did that.
Of course, eloquent as ever. But yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
hate watch is fun sometimes.
And
So my
Brandhild
answer-
said that he had to poke you on that one, referring to the movie version.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Okay, if you were deserted on an island and could have 5 things with you, what would you have with you?
Um, a TARDIS and someone to pilot it.
That's cheating.
Is it? Is it though?
Real things.
That's not really cheating.
That's not cheating.
That's two out of 5 things.
What are the odds they'd be on a deserted island?
Pretty low considering. I mean, technically I'm on an island right now.
Yeah, he's on a pretty crowded island.
A crowded island. All right. I'm surprised you didn't say the League of Legends servers, but
Oh no, I
Well,
probably
if he's got a TARDIS and a doctor to.
that's true.
that's an island made out of salt, and I don't want to sit on that.
Uh,
That was
Yeah.
quite the answer. Any more questions from the chat? Let us know, chat room. This is your chance to ask Ethelros anything you want. And also, anybody on the call, do you want to ask Ethelros any other questions? Man, silence.
I'm entirely opposed.
if you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
You mean like the spirit animal?
I mean, if you could be any animal,
Like
what...
being an animal, probably a human, because well, you know what the hell's going on with stuff. But that's
Besides
cheating, I
humans,
suppose.
That's cheating.
Um. Um. Well, people say like wolf, and I'm gonna have to just be one of those people because I don't know. I like dogs, and they always seem kind of have a appeal. So yeah, that I'm gonna be boring.
Any
Again.
particular reason why you like dogs?
Probably the main one being they're happy to see you no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I know other people say like they respect cats for not doing that, but like my life's kind of unenjoyable sometimes. And it's just nice. Like you have a bad day, you get home, and they're just like even if you left 5 minutes ago, they're still acting like you got home after 5 years. It's just nice.
Are you gloomy when you see your dog for the first time? When you come home, like, from a long trip or something?
No, sometimes, but not for that reason.
Okay.
I don't ever think, oh no, it's the dog.
The
Oh,
insight into Ethelros' mind is just amazing.
although I will say it's a bit annoying when she opens the back door repeatedly, because then I have to go and close it. Otherwise,
If
there's a
your
trap.
dog, if your dog could talk, what do you think she would say?
Probably, haha, you have to go close the door now.
Oh wow.
Because I'm pretty sure at this point she does it on purpose.
Brandhild in the chat asks, "What is your favorite outdoor activity?"
I don't know. I'm just the kind of person who likes walking around. Sometimes, like, quote unquote, hiking, just like walking through the forest for no reason and stuff. I've done that with friends a few times. Yeah, I'm not like a hugely um, like physical exertion stuff. I'm just sort of like strolling. It's not a big deal for me.
Are there nice places to stroll in Wales?
Yeah, we have a lot of forest and stuff around here. It's the kind of place where you'll have roads, and then wherever there aren't roads and buildings, there are trees and grass. Like it's just sort of carved into the forest instead of being like bulldozed over. It's quite nice.
So you're an elf.
No,
All right.
I should hope not.
And the question that has been the elephant in the room: why do you hate Sabertooths?
This one's a little dated at this point because I kind of don't now, at least from the small amount of experience I had with them after I think it was Rise, was it Helm's Deep actually, where they did the pet revamp with everything else. Before that, Sabertooths I found kind of useless because they did just bad damage in general. I know they're meant to be an AoE type, but their skills don't do much. They have a really long cooldown, and yeah, they just seem kind of useless. They don't have any utility either. Like the Raven can blind and stuff, or increase the mischance and give you a mitigation buff. The light bulb gave mischance to the enemy and stuff like that. Yeah, there was like no utility and no damage. After the update, they did better damage, but they're still not as good as the links if you want damage, or other stuff if you want utility. They just didn't really do anything well enough for me to think they are good.
All right. Any final questions, anybody?
He probably won't get the reference. Matter of fact, I'm sure he won't, but I'll ask anyway. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swale?
You are correct.
Good answer.
Oh, right. African or European?
There you go, finally.
That's awesome.
We'll explain it to you later,
That's
Ethelros.
awesome.
Oh, I'm sure I'll have to be educated.
Especially since at the beginning, Ethelros said that he likes comedy movies, and then he hasn't seen that one, so that was
Yeah,
fun.
Well,
of course.
maybe he doesn't like farce.
Maybe finally. Maybe. On that note, any other final questions? All right, and Ethelros, is there anything you'd like to ask yourself?
Why?
Awesome.
It's multi-purpose and fits lots of situations. So yeah, that one.
All right,
And
and
what's the answer?
and Felicia says, "Why are you so sad all the time?" That will be in an earlier part of this episode. We already answered that. But thank you, everyone, chat room, for coming out. We had a lot of fun asking Ethelros questions. At least I did. So thank you guys for showing up, and thank you, Ethelros, for agreeing to do this craziness that is Ask Anything.
I'll be looking forward to the paycheck.
Right.
It'll have lots of zeros on it. Nothing else.
Oh, I'm
but
sure there'll
lots
be
of zeros.
multiple zeros.
All right. And also, I'd like to mention everyone that this is made possible by supporters on Patreon. So thank you guys for supporting me on there and helping make these Ask Anythings possible. They're a lot of fun to do, and it was a lot of fun to catch up with everyone on here today. Our next Ask Anything is Ask Brax Anything, which we're about $50 away from. So that will be fun to do in the near future. And also, if you're interested in watching more stuff that I do. We're currently working on Middle-earth lore, which has just taken over my life. And so if you want to watch that, the first episode should be out in about 2 weeks. So be on the lookout for that. And till then, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon for more episodes.